All right, guys, welcome back in Bear Down, and we're getting there. We're so freaking close. 2 weeks and 5 days from now will be the tampering period for free agency. Before that, we got the combine. We got a lot coming up. We're going to be here with you every step of the way. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll pop this back on here just for a minute so you guys can see. Here's the upcoming schedule. So just yesterday, the players can be tagged, franchise, transition. This is not a significant one for the Bears because you're not going to see them do anything with this. There's no players that qualify for that. As much as rumors might be for Tevin Jenkins and Keenan Allen, it does not make sense to franchise or transition tag either one of them. It's too expensive. You take the top 5 or top 10 at each position, and neither one of them qualify for that. We'll get into that in just a minute. But then you got the NFL Combine starting, man, that's next week. Holy cow. Really a weekend and a half from now. I will be in Mesa for spring training for that, but I am going to be at the hotel diligently giving you guys as much as I possibly can in between going to the Cubs games and a couple outings I have with some friends down there. So I will do my best. And then you got the tag deadline on March 4th, negotiation period. Here, I'll use the pointer to go along with that. Bear down pointer. Let's go here. Bring that to the top. Do a little pointer. Okay, so negotiating period for the tampering is allowed on March 10th. That's 2 weeks and 5 days from right now. And then the New Year League officially begins on the 12th, which is exactly 3 weeks from now, correct? I mean, geez, wow. Okay. Then teams with new head coaches begin their off-season workouts. This is really when they get in the building, when Caleb and company get in there with Ben Johnson, and they will be getting to work. So this is what you'll see there. And then the draft, of course, down here, April 24th through 26th in Green Bay. So with all that excitement, I decided today I'm going to answer one of the big questions a lot of you keep asking me. When you analyze and go over your process, everyone's process is going to be different. When they're doing this scouting, or analyzing players, they'll do it differently. So I'm going to bring in here, we're actually going to go to where I go for several things. This is base level. Okay, this is not the in-depth on any one player, but I'm just going to give you a base level for those who are interested in looking at players for themselves. It's the whole reason this channel started. So I'm going to give you a base level of where things are, how I look at things, and primarily when you're looking at contracts this time of year, I like to use Spotrac. You can use PFF. You can use some other methods as well. You can use over the cap. I think Spotrac, as we get to this time of the year, is most accurate. I have not signed up for the premium membership. It looks like they're heading towards that way of trying to push people towards that. So if that happens, I will be signing up for that. I don't need it yet for what I do, and I don't think you do either. I'm also going to use PFF, their advanced stats. I know a lot of you guys don't have that, so I understand that's a different method. It is semi-expensive. I pay for it because of the channel. I can use it as a write-off, and I actually love seeing the in-depth stuff, so I love doing that. And then I'm going to go to, which you also have to pay for, NFL.com to see the All-22 for the advanced film. I'm going to go to NFL.com just on one player. I don't want to make this, super long today, so I'm only going to do one player that keeps being brought up, but I'm going to go over, let's start with the guards today. Let's just jump into, let me pull me off screen. All right, so one of the first places you can see a lot of the free agents, you can go to Spotrac here. I think a lot of people go there for contract information and who are free agents. And you can just go here, free agents, and click 2025 free agent. That'll bring you to this screen here, 2025. I'm going to look at guards today just to show, because this is one of the more polarizing. I think the Bears absolutely have to fix the interior, and there's several options available here. So we're going to start off. You can organize this many different ways. Position, it's all guards, so that's going to be the same. Age, you can click by age, youngest to oldest. Years of experience, youngest, biggest to littlest. Previous team, previous annual value of their contract. And then you can go over here and look at their current market value. So this is the type, unrestricted free agent. That's the type that the Bears are really going to go after the most, you would expect. Then there's restricted free agents. These are the type where you can offer them, but the team has the right to match a contract. This is what happened a couple years ago with Ryan Bates. And this year we have Bill Murray. Actually, Bill Murray's an exclusive right free agent, so I'm sorry, that's wrong. This is the ERFA. That's the exclusive right free agent. Restricted means they're at the end of their rookie type of contract that weren't on a normal rookie deal. Probably a undrafted free agent or someone who was cut and then re-signed, and they're still on a rookie period term. So the team has the right to match whatever offer is given to them. You can see some of these happen for sure. Exclusive right, the team has the right to re-sign these guys. It does not show Bill Murray here, but he is an exclusive right free agent. So we're going to be focusing more on these ones up here. You can see the more known ones, the ones that are probably going to get a contract. Trey Smith here, you can look at their market value. You can just click on that, and it might be a little bit slow. But then you can see here, Trey Smith, guard, 25 years old. They're saying his market value, and this is just an estimate. So Spotrac, just like anywhere else, is going to have their estimates. They're saying he's about worth $19.7 million. And that's probably pretty accurate because he's not Landon Dickerson. He's not Chris Lindstrom. He's not their level of quality. So he shouldn't break the market, but he might because, again, every year the salary cap goes up and you're going to get bombarded with pop-ups and ads on Spotrac. That's how they work to make it valuable for them. And then Quentin Nelson, he would be in between Chris Lindstrom and Quentin Nelson, in my opinion. Not the very best guard in the league, but he's definitely one of the best guards in the league. Shouldn't reset the market, but with the salary cap going up, every year you see this happen. So he could get a $21.5 million contract. I think people are getting a little carried away when they say he'll get $25 million, and maybe a team will, give him $25 million. I don't think the Bears should do that. They should keep things reasonable and within range, and if they want to go after him, offer him. This is one that I agree with. Offer him somewhere in this $19.7 million range. Maybe even get up into the $20 million range. Quentin Nelson is making $20 million, and I think he's a better guard than Quentin Nelson, but that's an opinion-based thing as well. So you can go back here. You can look at all of them again. So here's all of our free agents that are guards, and you can go through all these, and you can kind of dissect and analyze whichever ones you want. So you can look at age, you can look at Zach Martin. And this is something that I have to do is kind of have to gauge, okay, where's the value of their age compared to how they're playing? And you can look at someone like James Daniels, who was drafted by the Bears as a center, who did decent with the Bears, but then the Bears, didn't re-sign him. He went to the Steelers, and in my opinion, he's gotten even better since he's gone to the Steelers. And look at his market value. And they're going to say he's going to be around $7.8 million. I don't think that's out of there either. I think this is probably within line. He might even get a little bit more than that. So we go back here. And you can go through that on many of these guys. And as we get closer to free agency, you're going to see these update more. There were less market value estimates by them before. You look at Tevin Jenkins. We'll go look at Tevin Jenkins. 26.9 years old, so he's almost 27. It can be a little bit slow sometimes. They're saying he's worth about $10.3 million. Now, if that's the value of Tevin Jenkins, I'm sorry, guys. I'm all in. Sign Tevin Jenkins, draft a backup behind him. I'm all in favor of that. And the biggest reason is probably because of the injuries with him, because his play has him as one of the top guards in the league. In fact, let me pause this, and we'll go over to PFF, which is where I go next. Okay, so if we go to PFF, you can see here, this is last year. This is only 2024, regular and postseason. I know not everybody has the PFF premium subscription. I get that, so that's part of why we share some of this stuff with you. But you can see the top graded guard in the league was Chris Lindstrom. Then you have James Daniels right behind him. Now, there was limited time by James Daniels. And, of course, James Daniels had the a terrible Achilles tear. That's been affecting so many. But you can click on him, come down here. You can see he had 3 full games. And then he had the game against Indy where he played 6 snaps, 6 total offensive snaps. Jeez. And then he was injured. So his play, according to this, up to there, was pretty freaking solid. He had one rough game against Denver. But other than that, overall, he played pretty well. You can go look at him historically, too, though. Here's what the Bears in 18, 19, 20, 21. You can see he was a second rounder by the Bears, picked 39 overall. And right here, his final year, the Bears just decided not to pick him up because he had probably his worst season. But even before then, wasn't being consistent. But here, a decent season right here. Really solid season. So this is what I'm looking at. Sorry, I need to explain more of this. So this is your team. This is the offensive snaps. These are blocking snaps. Here's your run blocking and pass blocking, breaking it down between the two. Here's their grades for offense, for run blocking, pass blocking, opportunities. Here's the sacks, hits, hurries, and total pressures. Okay. So the pressures here are 40. On a contract year, that might be why the Bears said, okay, 40 out of 700 snaps, pass blocking opportunities is just way too many, so we're going to let him go. We're going to go a different direction here. And then he did much better with Pittsburgh. So 20 pressures in a 600 pass block opportunity season is absolutely phenomenal. 0 sacks given up. So that's really good. Run blocking is something to question on this, but you have to look at the tape for that. So as with everything, we go into this and we say, well, let's look at the stats, and that's what we're doing now. Look at the contract evaluation, and then look at the tape. And look at the tape is something we'll do on a couple of these. In fact, I don't want to make this too long, so we'll probably just do one. And you look at 24, and then this last year, 105 reps and 5 pressures. So not phenomenal, but not terrible either. So is he someone worth considering? Well, it's going to come down to that ankle injury and how well he's healing for me. That's the biggest thing there. So let's look at a couple other of these. And you can look over here. Let me just scoot it to the right. You can see their snap positions as well. So they played, so for Joe Tooney, Kansas City, he's not, now a lot of these guys aren't under contract. So let me come back over here. So, I'm sorry, not available in free agency. Tyrese Robinson not available. Bill Murray, our very own Bill Murray, right here. Again, limited sample size. We'll go into that real quick. So Bill Murray, amazing game against Carolina, but it was Carolina. So, and limited reps, and then of course he got injured against Washington, and he's out for the season. But if you're taking things in a nutshell and just looking at them with limited context, you'll think that Bill Murray is one of the very best guards in the entire league. And as we know, Bill Murray was a converted defensive tackle from New England, who they converted, and then the Bears have continued to work with him to convert him over. Now, if you take this limited reps, 0 pressures allowed, 0 sacks, hits, or hurries, looks phenomenal. I mean, looks like an amazing player, but very limited. Very limited, and you have to take things in context. So would I exercise the exclusive right free agency on Bill Murray? 100% I would. I would absolutely do that. Because he's worth continuing to develop, and he's a good depth piece. Christian Mahogany on a rookie contract. Quinn Meiers, he's signed, I think, through 2027. Kevin Zeitler is a free agent, and only 18 pressures on 577 snaps is phenomenal. So this is one where you look at him and you say, well, consistently over time, he's been freaking phenomenal. 18 pressures, 21 pressures, 16 pressures, 17 pressures, 20, even 28 pressures is phenomenal. I mean, it's just and consistent at right. He's been a right guard his whole career, different teams, and it translates between team to team. To me, this is a no-brainer that the Bears would go after Kevin Zeitler. Yes, he's 34, almost 35 years old, but he's not one. He hasn't missed time because of his age. So whether you want to give him a 1-year or a 2-year deal, I'm good with that contract, especially with it being a value thing. At his age, you can come down here and you can see they're saying, oh, this is Tevin Jenkins still. Let's go back. Let's go. Kevin Zeitler here, his market value. Now you see this range mixed anywhere from, 7 to 10 million. I think 9.2 is actually very reasonable. His previous contract was 6 million, but then he stepped it up from there again, and you can see he had another up year. His run blocking, his total offensive grade off the chart. Not bad for pressures. Gave up 5 sacks, but very few pressures. So then you have to dive into the tape and see how bad those sacks were, what the situation of them was. But you can see consistently a very high-level player. You like your 65 and above on all these, and your best players are going to be 75 and 80 and above, and he's consistently hitting those numbers. Between several teams, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Giants, Baltimore. I forgot he played with Giants. That's right. I have to remember some of these things when I see this. But you see the production here? 1,000 snaps is a full season. So these are all full seasons. He's an Iron Man. He hasn't been missing any time with injury. So good size, 6'4", 340 pounds, previous first-rounder. Everything you want to see in Kevin Zeitler. The only thing that scares people is the age. And I'm willing to take that shot in a rebuild where you have picks where you can develop players behind as well. I'm good with that. He fits very he checks all the boxes for me. I'm not as worried about the age when you see Iron Man stuff. Now, if he had multiple injuries, that would be more of a concern for me. So Landon Dickerson's one of the top ones as well. And then you scroll down here and you can see Trey Smith right down here. 34 pressures. So it only tells part of the story, but this is postseason and regular. Let's just go to regular here. So let's just go to regular because not everybody played in the postseason. So if we're looking at the full, just regular, Kevin Zeitler, number 5, James Daniels, number 2, but these are very limited. You have to look at these blocking opportunities. Bill Murray and Christian McHogany. Jordan Meredith under contract. Landon Dixon, there's Trey Smith there. You can see 0 sacks, 26 pressures in the full season. That's really good. So we're happy with this. Now you can say he had a worst postseason. You can say that about many players, though. Here's Mekhi Becton, who many people are high on. Same thing, rough postseason, but his pass blocking worries me just a little bit. 25 pressures here, and when you watch him on tape, he's a little slow and clunky. So I'm not all in on Mekhi Becton like some people are. Then you got Tevin Jenkins here, only 17 pressures allowed, but only half a season. So more than half a season, actually, 60, 70% of a season here. Say we add 30% to that, add about 5, 6 more. So you're right on line with Mekhi Becton numbers. Mekhi Becton, very injured throughout his entire career as well. So these are tough decisions. I mean, these are the whole things you look at. But then one player who keeps being brought up, and I think very casually by people, is Will Fries. We'll look at Will Fries. You look over here at Spotrac. Let's go back to Spotrac. So here's Will Fries. He's on here somewhere. Let's find him. Evan Brown's another one to look at. There's actually several from the Cardinals who I'm interested in looking at. Liam Eichenberg's worth looking at. Robert Jones worth looking at. I mean, there's so many options here of these guys. Brady Christensen, who I think he's getting a little too old for the improvements he's making. He's making improvements now. Looking at Matt Pryor again. I mean, there's so many. All right, let's find Will Fries. There's Will Fries right there. Get out of here, ad. Will Fries, only 27, 26 years old, coming off his rookie deal with the Colts. You can look at his market value. And you can say, well, first off, let's look at Spotrac. At PFF. And we look at Will Fries right here at the top. 86.9. That's phenomenal. 268 snaps, though. And then we go look at him, and they say he's going to be worth $14.1 million average salary. Oh, give me antacid. Give me Pepto, man, because that's a little sickening to me. And so you look at that and you say, okay, they're considering him one of the higher level free agents. Is he worth it? Well, let's go look at our buddy Will Fries here. Only played 5 games this season. And he snapped his tibia right in the middle of that game against Jacksonville. So it's a frustrating thing when he was doing very well. A couple of sacks, and everything is in a sample. So you have to look at these things with a sample and say, okay, how much of this sample is indicative? You can see a rough pass blocking game, only 1 pressure allowed, but out of position several times for the Bears. Other games, very high on all his grades. And so let's look at his entire career, though. When you look down here, his 3 first years, he didn't even get starting reps a lot because he was not good. When you look at the tape, he was not good either. But this is common with offensive linemen. They have to develop. Well, this last year, played better in 2023. And you'd hear that from Colts fans, too. They say he played better, gives you hope. 30 pressures, a lot of them critical pressures. And he had the full-time starting job. So he comes back into this year, and he's starting, gets into this year, and then he snaps his tibia. So he breaks his leg. Well, how well is he going to come back from that injury? 6'6", 305. He's a little on the lighter frame for me for a guard that I want. I'd like a little heavier frame, but someone that still plays big. So you look at all this, and you have to put it in a bubble, and you have to go and watch the tape. Okay, and to me, this is the most important part, is breaking down the film and watching the film. And here's the problem. I work my 9-to-5 job. I've got my 3 kids. I got everything else going on in life, and then I don't do this as my primary job. So I spend a freaking a crazy amount of time on this freaking stuff, and it's fun. I wish the Bears would hire me. I wish that could be my full-time job. I'd easily give up the insurance industry to do this full-time, but I'm still learning and growing, and this is how we flow. So I can't give you like every piece of tape on Will Fries. There's limited from this last year, but I'll give you That's the hardest part because we could sit here for hours and just break down Will Fry's tape. And the line is probably the positions that I understand more than most positions because that's where I played. But Will Fry's, to me, I'll give you the nutshell before we give it, because I'm going to give positives here. I'm going to show the first drive of the season, and then I will show the best drive from his worst game against the Bears. The best drive, which is a short drive, which he did a good job. Will Fry's, to me, is a player that screams with potential. He's showing confidence. He's showing that improved confidence. And he does have a bulldog mentality. He's a little undersized. I don't like him at 305. He gets pushed back a little bit because of that, so I don't love it. And his biggest weakness appears to be communicating with his teammates, that they don't always be on the same page or share the same page. They're not always congruent on things. You'll see him out of place many times. Now, he's only in year 4, only his second year of starting. A lot of potential there. Is he worth $14 million? My analysis is no. He's not worth as much as Tevin Jenkins to me. He's not as worth as much as Kevin Zeitler, even at his age. He's still a you're taking a risk. He's still a risk. He's a project. Is he a bad project? No. I think he's worth a project, but I'm not going to pay him $14 million. If I'm the Bears, I'm saying, okay, Will Fries is someone I definitely go after, but I'll pay him somewhere in the $6 to $8 million range. Now, he'll probably get paid by somebody based off of 4 games of work. Let him. We've done that with Nate Davis. Now, Nate Davis is more than 4 games of work, but we've done that where we've overpaid someone in a situation where we didn't. When you've got Kevin Zeitler there that's proven an Iron Man every single year, and he's just older, well, then pay him $9.2 million a year for 2 years. Bring somebody in the draft to develop, because this same scenario, you got Will Fries, who you're developing and turning into a good player. Sometimes it does take that time for these players to develop and turn into good starting caliber players in the NFL. And props to the Colts, picking him in the 7th round near the very end of the draft and building him up and working him to be a starting caliber player. So there's my analysis on him. You can agree or disagree. I just think there's too many good options, especially at right guard in this free agency. And I think the Bears will absolutely fill the right guard role. Even Matt Pryor is a decent option. I didn't jump into him, but he's not even, they've got him as a low value, and he played very well as a backup. I'd rather see Matt Pryor as a backup. I think that's more of the role for him. So there's players out there like Will Fries, like Kevin Zeitler, like Trey Smith. Who knows who the Bears will go out and get? First thing that happens, I'll be right here, and I'm pulling for it to be Kevin Zeitler on a good deal. Worked with Ben Johnson, obviously, but let's jump into this. So here's right after the kickoff, very first drive of the game. This is going to be the Colts, and I'm not editing anything here. I'm just going to show you where he is. So this is him, number 75, right there for the Colts, their right guard. And we'll just let this play, and we'll just kind of have a little look at it. This is the very first drive of the game. You can see there's the snap. Good job. He gets his containing, gets out to the next level. He's willing to be out there and help, pushing guys around. Decent. Not an A+, not a B+, not a, whatever, not a bad. It just was what it was. So this is him again. Let me show you right here. That's him right there, right guard. So you follow him along as we go. We'll set that off to the side, and boom. Contains his block, and then goes for help. So good job. It's fine. It's great. Good job. Did his job. Next play. Again, this is him right here. I'll stop doing this in a second, just so you guys can get consistent with where he is as you're watching. This is the All-22 film. Get it from NFL.com. Snap. Good job. Let's bring that back just to see it one more time. All right, there's the snap. Again, we're looking right here. Snap. Contains this guy. Gets pushed back just a little bit, but he handles circle fire pointer now. A little circle of fire. This guy's on the fire. All right, so that's it for that one. And again, I am intentionally only showing you the positive of Will Fries. I'm not showing some of the worst, but I will tell you from my analysis, he isn't in clear. This is something that can be fixed. Not clear communicating with his teammates, often out of position, exposing the team on several plays. But overall, good contain. I just wish he was a little bit bigger. He's a little bit undersized, only 305 pounds, and you see that a little bit on tape. But overall, if we take him for $7-8 million, I've got no issue with that whatsoever. So here he is against the Bears. This is the second series, I think. This is a quick touchdown series drive for the Colts. Might be the third series, don't hold me to that. But There he is right there. Gets out. You see him getting... Either way. So, let me know if you guys like this type of thing. Again, this comes back to the All-22 film. This comes down to the breakdown. There needs to be a lot more analysis on the film than just showing you guys a couple of plays there. So, I just kind of condensed my viewing after watching an hour of tape on him from not just this year, but the last year, but more of this year for the 4 games to focus on him. And that's my analysis of him. He's just out of position a little bit too much. He's a little bit undersized and not experienced enough. Not enough tape to give him a $14 million contract, in my opinion. I'd rather give that contract to Tevin Jenkins for 14 or 13 or 12. Availability, I get that. Injury, Tevin only playing 700 out of 1,000 snaps. Doesn't really wet a lot of people's whistles. But same thing, Will Fries was injured as well. Will Fries was injured since week 4. So you never know. These injuries happen. And, who knows? Maybe next year Tevin will sign with somebody else for $13 million and have a Pro Bowl caliber year because he's capable of doing that. But for Will Fries specifically, do I want to spend that much money on someone who had 4 good games and clearly is showing that he's hitting the next level there, but he's out of position a lot, not clear communication with his teammates, and a little bit undersized? I'd rather go with Kevin Zeitler type of player, or Trey Smith, obviously. I'd rather go with that, more of a proven type of product than going with the younger one. So a lot of players there, though, to analyze and evaluate. I will give you guys my top free agents before free agency at each position that I think is important for the Bears and who I'd like them to sign. Obviously, Trey Smith is the focus there, but are we going to overpay him? If we sign Trey Smith for $19.7, $20 million a year, I'm very happy. Kevin Zeitler for 9, 10, 11, 12, $13 million a year, I'm very happy with that as well. So it just depends on how the Bears do this evaluation for themselves, how they view it, how they see it. And their scouting department is going to be, better than us. But we sit here at home and we amateur try to go through this. I just see too many get hopped up on the Will Fries of the league when we got Bill Murray. The same thing, one good game and then injured, and then he's got a lot more to prove. So I'm not there with that. But I do like several. The free agency in the line should be addressed, and we can do more of these for. Drew Dahlman, I tell you guys on here, Drew Dahlman, extreme, probably the most athletic, probably the best built, muscular center in the league, and he's young. I just don't like his pass pro. The biggest thing with me is he doesn't get down enough. He's not down in his base enough. He bends at the hip a little bit more than he should. I know that probably looked awkward on tape. Sorry about that, guys. He bends a little bit at the hip more. Is that something that can be coached out of him, though? Is that something a good line coach can fix with him to make him an excellent, run blocking center that's a beast, and add to that his pass pro getting extremely better too? And maybe if you bring a Kevin Zeitler in next to him and Tevin Jenkins, and then draft a rookie like Tyler Booker to be able to rotate in with Tevin Jenkins, and if Tevin Jenkins is injured, Drew Dahlman, Kevin Zeitler, and Tevin Jenkins with Tyler Booker behind him, I'm actually all on board on that. That would be a phenomenal rotation. Even if you got someone like Ariante Ursery, who would back up Tevin Jenkins, but also can play left tackle, so can be Braxton's replacement next year or rotate with Braxton this year if there's injury or something happens. There's just so many options, so many good options. So we'll get more into this as we get closer to free agency. We're close to free agency. I just only have so many hours in the day for me, but I do appreciate you guys tuning in. I appreciate everything about this community and you guys being a part of it. So let me know what you think of this video, of the content of this video, if it's something you like. It just kind of gives you a glimpse of how I do my base level. This is base level. This is the base level, basic analysis, just comparing contracts, comparing players and where they stand. So it's not like this is the in-depth, depth stuff, but it's good enough to get a basic opinion formed of, this is actually the direction I want to go with the Bears. What are the Bears going to do? We'll find out. So appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please do that. If you haven't subscribed by now, why? Why haven't you subscribed? Subscribe. Freaking subscribe. It's worth it. It's free. Subscribe. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Till next time, the Bears. Bear down.